Hi, I'm Kim Newlove, host of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. This is episode 155, but it's also episode 5 in my drug name pronunciation series. If you're new to the Pharmacist Voice podcast, welcome. In my pronunciation episodes, I say a drug name, break it down into syllables, explain which syllable or syllables have the emphasis, reveal the source or sources of information, and put the written pronunciations in the show notes so that you can see them and use them right away. Dr. Jennifer Marquez picked the drug name for the month of May 2022. Having a colleague pick the drug name worked so well that I asked Dr. Allana Alexander to pick the drug name for June 2022. If you're interested in recommending the drug name for a future pronunciation episode for the Pharmacist Voice podcast, contact me through my website, thepharmacistvoice.com. Now, without further ado, here's my interview with Dr. Allana Alexander. Hi, Dr. Laney. Welcome to the Pharmacist Voice podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Dr. Newlove. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am very good. I'm excited to talk to you today about one of my favorite subjects, drug name pronunciations. But first, I'd like you to introduce yourself to my audience, please.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Laney. A government-issued name is Dr. Allana Alexander. I'm pharmacist, CEO, and founder of A Squared Pharmacy Solutions. I'm also the CEO of Hard Drug Names on TikTok and Instagram. I'm just happy to be here. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Can you tell me what your business does? A Squared Pharmacy Solutions, is that what it's called?
Yes. So I'm a pharmacy-based clinic serving the Birmingham, Alabama metro area. I do dispense, but it's kind of ancillary. Primarily, I do more clinical services like wellness checks, diabetes, education and prevention program, travel vaccines, standard, year-to-year immunizations, and things of that nature. We just received the green light for collaborative practice in the state of Alabama. Woohoo!
Congrats.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming, girl. Whew, I feel like we're behind so many other states, but it's a big step in the right progressive direction. But with the collaborative practice agreement that I'm working on, I would like to be able to be like a test to treat center. So if someone needs to get their blood sugar tested, have a consultation with me, and there's a medication change, I'll be able to fill that in-house. It's just a one-stop shop. CMS kind of rolled out the program, I think, in March for COVID testing to treat programs, and some pharmacies were a part of that. So I'm just hopping on their coattail, keeping it going.
Well, best of luck to you. I'm excited for you and all the changes that are coming down the pipe for you as you start your collaborative practice agreement. Sorry, I can't talk today.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. All right. Well, you know why I invited you on this podcast episode today. I would love for you to pick the word of the day for my pronunciation episode. What have you got for me?
Sure. So the word I selected was Trulicity. That's the brand name medication. I don't mean to go textbook, but GLP-1 receptor agonist, That's used to treat type 2 diabetes. Trulicity is the brand name, and the generic name is Dulaglutide. I've messed this up so many times because when I learned it, I was taught Dulaglutide, but I talked with Eli Lilly, and it's Dulaglutide. Is how the creator pronounces it.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. A lot of people don't know to call a drug company and ask for information. How'd you know to do that?
I didn't. So just on whipsident. I was trying to develop a drug pronunciation tool, like a standard. I wanted to be the Susan Bennett of hard drug names. Okay, that was on my vision board a couple years back. But I wanted to create like a standard drug pronunciation tool because there are lots of different schools of pharmacy or even pharmacists on YouTube and Spotify that may do, or not Spotify, what's the Anchor, that may do pronunciations. And it's different depending on where you go. So I was trying to get a standardized set, and I was like, well, let me reach out to some friends in pharma. I was working for state Medicaid at the time, so I knew a couple of people, a couple different places. So I just started there And I got in contact with a couple of companies and was able to ask them, how do you pronounce the name of your stuff?
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me and how you got that information. That's important. When I have a hard time pronouncing a drug name, a generic or non proprietary one, I look at the USP Dictionary Online. Do you know what that is by
Yes,
any chance?
yes.
Do you have access to it?
I have not looked at the U.S. Pharmacopoeia since, honestly, since pharmacy school, probably.
I didn't even know it existed when I was in pharmacy school. Well, the USP Dictionary, USP, like you said, the United States Pharmacopoeial Convention, they publish a number of books. And I guess the dictionary is one of them. I never touched that thing when I was in college. I don't know how long it's been around, but anyways, that's where I get my information. And in these episodes, I will, say goodbye to my guest, and then I'll go look it up, and I'll just break it down according to them. So I'm curious how they do it. So if
Oh,
theirs differs from yours, I just want you to know that I take mine from that source. And if you got yours from Eli Lilly, I'm sure that's their best answer available. Yep.
oh, that's great. That's a great idea. I need to get back in touch with that resource because that is a great resource.
It
Thank
is. Unfortunately, it's subscription based, and I don't get any money for mentioning it. I wish I did because I mention it all the time on my podcast.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, they actually are the ones that select the non-proprietary drug name from among all the choices that the drug companies come up with, or it's like the Jedi Council, they got Mace Windu in there, and they got like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, and they're
Yes,
all sitting around picking the drug names.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to the fourth a few days back. I love the Star Wars references.
Yeah. Now tell me, what do you do on TikTok with drug names? Because if people listening to this have not heard of this, they need to check it out.
Oh, yeah. So it's literally just me giving my best guess at how to pronounce the drug names. I kind of wanted to increase relatability with fellow TikTokers and just say, hey, we struggle with pronouncing these names just like you do. So it's literally, I pre record first, and it's my first glance at the drug name, and it's me trying to sound it out. It's painful at times. And oftentimes folks will hop in the comments, and some of them have worked as drug reps for other companies before. I think generic Keppra tore me up. I gave it my best go, and they're like, well, actually, it's dun and I'm like, So that's usually how that works out. I'll get some requests in the comments, and like as soon as I see it, if I see like a try such and so or please say this, I'll just click and give it my best effort.
Now, I'm not on TikTok. Are you saying that people will comment in real time as you're saying it? Or do you publish the video and then they comment?
Yes, I publish the video and then comment. Then they comment. Yeah.
Okay, so that's your source of new material sometimes, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I am not on TikTok. I need to check that out though. Can I be like what do you call it? Like an external observer without getting an account? Do you think?
Let's see. I think if you want to I think you may have to make an account to look, I don't know. Because there are
That's
some
okay.
who just say user and then a number. They don't ever post any videos or anything. They just spectate and double click and like it.
Spectate, that's the word, not external observer. God, leave
Ah,
it to me to make it sound clinical. I'm asking for permission to be a stalker on there, but I didn't want to use the word stalker.
No, it happens all the time. Because if someone makes, an off the wall comment or something, you look and they have like no profile picture, no name. It's just user 12345. You're like, oh, okay, let's see. Somebody just passing through.
I call them trolls. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Trolls. It's a troll account. All right. Well, I promise not to say anything negative at all, but I do want to be a spectator. I need to sign up for TikTok. This is like the second person I've talked to that's put some content out there that I do want to see. And thankfully, you post your TikTok videos on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, yes, some of them. Some of the music the music in the background, might be a little risque for LinkedIn, but most of them I do.
Oh, Okay. All right. So you put the PG version on LinkedIn.
Yes, yes.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing your talents and thank you for picking the word of the day. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And if anybody wants to connect with you on LinkedIn or TikTok, can I get your screen names one more time?
Sure. So, oh goodness, I just changed them. I'm on TikTok and Instagram, A2 Pharmacy Solutions. And then on LinkedIn, I'm under my government issued name, Allana Alexander.
Okay. And when I saw Elena, it is spelled Allana, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Allana Alexander. Very good. Well, thank you, Dr. Alexander, for being on the Pharmacist Voice podcast. You take care.
Thank you. You too, Dr. Nula.
Thanks again to Dr. Allana Alexander for taking the time to pick the June 2022 drug name and also share a little bit about herself and her business. Links to Dr. Alexander's LinkedIn profile, Instagram page, and A Squared Pharmacy Solutions website are in the show notes. Let's get into the pronunciations now. Dr. Alexander picked Trulicity, brand for Dulaglutide. Let's talk about the brand name first and the generic name second. Here we go. Trulicity. Trulicity. Trulicity has 4 syllables. See if you can hear them. Trulicity. The emphasis is on the first syllable, true, like the word truly. Trulicity. Now, I have a personal opinion to share here. You need to eat the T on the last syllable, T. All right, so that sounds like this. Trulicity instead of Trulicity. Just saying, I like to eat the T on that one. Trulicity. Trulicity. I think that pronouncing Trulicity is pretty straightforward, but let's say you just weren't sure how to pronounce it. That's okay. Where could you find the pronunciation of Trulicity? Great question. I have a few suggestions. Let's start with the drug's website, Trulicity.com. Trulicity.com. That's Trulicity.com. Trulicity.com. All right, you go to Trulicity.com, click on For Healthcare Providers in the menu. A video for healthcare providers will pop up. Watch the video, because during the video, you will hear Trulicity pronounced. There's a link to that video in the show notes. Now, how do you know that you can trust the pronunciation in the video? That's a great question. I have personally found that when a drug sponsor publishes information on their website, you can trust that the intended pronunciation of the brand name product is correct. If you go to YouTube and listen to someone who is not the drug sponsor, you risk getting the wrong pronunciation. The wrong pronunciation. Just saying. Now, if you're at all skeptical about the pronunciation in the video on the drug sponsor's website, you can also get in touch with the drug sponsor's Drug Information Department or Media Relations Department. Drug Information Department or Media Relations Department. Which one do you use? Drug information or media relations? In my humble opinion, it just depends on what you're using it for, but the information should be identical from either department, drug information or media relations. If I have questions on pronunciations for a podcast or a YouTube video that I am publishing, I contact media relations. Now, if you're a pharmacist and you're just in general practice, you'll want to call the Drug Information Department. It's sometimes called the Medical Information Department. How do you find the right phone number to contact the drug sponsor's Drug Information or Media Relations Department? There happens to be a phone number at the bottom of Trulicity.com. They made it pretty easy. The phone number is 1-844-TRU-INFO. That's 1-844-TRU-INFO. 1-844-TRU-INFO. You could also just Google the phone number. What's the best way to do that? We all know how to use the internet, but what's your search term? What do you put in the box? Well, Eli Lilly is the drug sponsor. You can tell because the word Lilly is in script at the bottom of the website. Google Eli Lilly Drug Information Department or a similar search term like Eli Lilly Medical Information Department or Eli Lilly Media Relations Department. Any one of those should get you a usable phone number. The only catch is that you need to call when they're open, during normal business hours. If you need the information right away, right now, and it's midnight on a Saturday night, and you can't wait, you just have to trust the video or give it your best shot. You can also find the written pronunciation in Trulicity's Medication Guide. Trulicity's Medication Guide. How can you find the medication guide? There are 2 suggestions I'm going to make right here. There's a link to Trulicity's Medication Guide on Trulicity's website. So there's a link, find it, click on it, there you go. Or you can access the medication guide through the FDA's website. Links to both are in the show notes. What about YouTube? We all love YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, from what I understand. Now, the only YouTube pronunciation that I would trust for this drug would be videos published by Eli Lilly and Company. That's the drug sponsor. So if you're going to go on YouTube, just make sure the video that you watch to get the pronunciation of Trulicity is published by Eli Lilly and Company. There you go. Now that wraps up the pronunciation of brand name Trulicity. Let's move on to the non-proprietary or generic name Dulaglutide. There are 4 syllables in Dulaglutide. According to the USP Dictionary Online, GLOO gets the primary emphasis. Do gets the secondary emphasis. That means that you need to emphasize GLOO longer and louder than the other syllables. Do gets almost as much emphasis as GLOO. One more time, Dulaglutide. Dulaglutide. Dulaglutide does not have a very straightforward pronunciation. As you heard Dr. Allana Alexander say, she thought it was pronounced Dulaglutide. As pharmacists, do we know what she's talking about if she pronounces it that way? Yes, I believe so anyway. She said that the pronunciation given to her by Eli Lilly was Dulaglutide. How do we know which one is right? I'm going to share with you what I do. I let the USP Dictionary Online guide my generic drug name pronunciations. Let me say that again. I use the USP Dictionary Online to guide my generic drug name pronunciations. The USP Dictionary Online says that dulaglutide is correct. Dulaglutide. But I have to comment on the vowels. Yes, the vowels. The pronunciation guide is your friend, and vowels can be tricky. I think I say this in every single pronunciation episode. The pronunciation guide in any dictionary is the key to pronouncing words correctly, whether we're talking about drug names in the USP Dictionary Online or a common English word in Webster's Dictionary. The pronunciation of the vowels is in any pronunciation guide, and it is the key to pronouncing things correctly. The pronunciation guide in the USP Dictionary Online shows that the letter A in dulaglutide is a short A, like bat, mat, or patch. That means that the letter A in dulaglutide is pronounced la. Yeah, I said la. And that may not seem right, but that A is pronounced a, like as in bat, mat, or patch. If you say it that way in dulaglutide, it actually sounds like dulaglutide. Now, because English-speaking humans, not computers, tend to use a schwa sound for many vowels, including the letter A, we make an sound in the syllable LA, which sounds like la. La. The USP Dictionary Online does not use schwa sounds. That's why there's not one there. So I, as an individual, interpreted the pronunciation from the USP Dictionary Online to be dulaglutide. If you put in la, it sounds like this, dulaglutide. Now, if you say it fast enough, it ends up sounding like dulaglutide. But you don't get the syllables chopped up in the right places or the emphasis on the right syllables if you say dulaglutide. Anyways, this to me is a potato, tomato thing. Some people will pronounce it Dulaglutide, others will pronounce it Dulaglutide, still others may pronounce it Dulaglutide. I can't get the emphasis right. Anyways, I am not trying to discredit anyone or make myself, personally, the pronunciation boss. I think we can all agree that as pharmacists, pharmacy techs, pharmacy students, professors, etc., we're all just trying to communicate effectively for the sake of safety for our patients and for the sake of clear communication with our fellow healthcare professionals. I'm going to go ahead and pronounce generic Trulicity Dulaglutide. Dulaglutide. How will you pronounce it? That's up to you. That ends my discussion for the pronunciation of Dulaglutide. I'd like to take just a moment to say thank you to the USP Legal Department for permission to use written pronunciations from the USP Dictionary Online in my YouTube videos and podcast show notes. If you are unfamiliar with the USP Dictionary Online, it is a subscription-based resource. And I love it. I subscribe to it myself. To learn more, visit usp.org and look for the USP Dictionary Online, also known as USAN. USAN, USAN. There's a link to it in the show notes. As a reminder, there is a lot of misinformation online. The purpose of these pronunciation episodes is to provide the intended pronunciations from reliable sources. I want you to feel confident saying drug names and less frustrated learning them. Use the intended pronunciations from reliable sources. And if you're a voice actor, let me just remind you to check with your director for the correct pronunciations before you hit record. Nobody's paying you to say it wrong. I hope these pronunciation episodes help. Let's wrap this up. Thank you to Dr. Allana Alexander for picking Trulicity, or Dulaglutide, for this episode. The written pronunciations for both are in the show notes. As a reminder, if you are interested in picking the drug names for a future episode, please visit thepharmacistvoice.com and click on the Contact tab. Either leave me a voicemail message or send me a written message using the contact form. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for listening to episode 155 of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. Please visit thepharmacistvoice.com to read the show notes. You'll find links to Trulicity.com, the USP Dictionary Online, Dr. Allana Alexander's LinkedIn profile, Instagram page, and business website, and more in the show notes. If you know someone who would like this episode or needs to hear it, please share this with them. And subscribe to or follow the Pharmacist Voice podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thank you again for listening.